The White House says the president still believes millions of illegal voters is the reason he lost the popular vote to Hillary Clinton. Our correspondent presses the White House today. What evidence do they have to support this? Tonight, one key Republican saying he is now, quote, begging the president to stop. Also tonight, the president's new orders pushing ahead with construction of the controversial Keystone and Dakota pipelines. And he'll soon reveal his name, his pick for the Supreme Court. What we have now learned about a leading contender. The deadly nor'easter pounding the coast with high winds and the new winter blast tonight in the Midwest. The health scare, the governor of Minnesota collapsing during his State of the State address. Lawmakers rushing to help. There is news coming in tonight about his condition. And the collision on the tracks, the FedEx truck and the train with passengers on board. The warning system on the tracks failing.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Tuesday night. And we begin tonight with a day of controversy within the Trump White House over a claim made once again by the president that's never been proven. Tonight, the White House says he stands by it. President Trump inviting congressional leaders over to the White House last night and then talking about the election, saying he lost the popular vote to Hillary Clinton because of millions of illegal votes. But there has never been any proof of that. So today at the White House, our team pressing the Trump administration, saying, show us the evidence. A sharp response tonight, including members of the president's own party. ABC's Cecilia Vega leading us off from the White House.
That stunning admission from the White House today, the president of the United States still believes there was massive voter fraud in the election he won.
Does the president believe that millions voted illegally in this election? And what evidence do you have of widespread voter fraud in this election, if that's the case?
The president does believe that. He has stated that before. I think he stated his concerns of voter fraud and people voting illegally during the campaign. And he continues to maintain that belief based on studies and evidence that people have presented to him.
But exactly what evidence? Speaker Ryan today said there's no evidence. The National Association of Secretaries of State say that they don't agree with the president's assessment. What evidence do you have?
As I said, I think the president has believed that for a while based on studies and information he has.
It's a claim the president repeated during his first official White House meeting with congressional leaders, telling them he lost the popular vote to Hillary Clinton only because millions of illegal ballots were cast. The same claim he made on Twitter after his win, saying, I won the popular vote if you deduct the millions of people who voted illegally, and serious voter fraud in Virginia, New Hampshire, and California. Today, Press Secretary Sean Spicer grilled a half a dozen times on the topic.
Is the White House going to formally ask for a probe into this alleged?
No, I think he won very, very handily with 306 electoral votes, 33 states. He's very comfortable with his win.
Why not investigate something
maybe we will.
The biggest scandal in American electoral history, 3 to 5 million people voting illegally?
I think we'll see where we go from here.
He offered no hard proof to back up a claim that has been flatly debunked. Even Trump's own lawyers seem to contradict the claim. In court filings, they objected to a post-election recount in Michigan, writing, all available evidence suggests the election was not tainted by fraud or mistake. Fellow Republicans today breaking ranks with the president.
I've seen no evidence to that effect, and I've made that very, very clear.
Senator Lindsey Graham begging for the president to present evidence or stop.
It is the most inappropriate thing for the president to say without proof, and seems to be obsessed with the idea that he could not have possibly lost the popular vote without cheating and fraud.
And while Trump aides have pointed to 2 studies, both conducted years before the election, tonight one author tells ABC News the Trump team is deliberately trying to mischaracterize the report. The second author says he found no evidence of voter fraud.
How can he be comfortable with his win if he believes
he's very comfortable with his win?
3 million votes. Maybe he didn't win.
No, he's very comfortable with his win.
That briefing came to an abrupt end after a fellow aide placed a note on the new press secretary's podium.
And we still have no idea what that note said, but Cecilia Vega live at the White House tonight. And tonight, Cecilia, the secretaries of state from across the nation, they are the ones who oversee elections. They're now weighing in?
David, this is a nonpartisan group. They are saying they see no evidence to support President Trump's claim of voter fraud and that we are open, quote, to learning more about the administration's concern. David, a bit of a challenge being thrown down to the White House tonight.
Cecilia Vega leading us off tonight. Cecilia, thank you. And we should point out this evening that tomorrow, our exclusive interview with President Trump inside the White House. His first one-on-one interview since taking office. Nothing off limits. Tweet me your thoughts, your questions. The interview breaks right here on World News Tonight and then on a primetime hour, 10 p.m. Eastern, tomorrow night, right here. Meanwhile, as the White House was fielding questions over those unproven claims of millions of illegal votes, President Trump was signing several orders, from the environment to American steel, champions of several key issues watching this closely on both sides. Among the orders, the ones set to advance the controversial Keystone and Dakota Access pipelines. And one other decision from the president tonight. FBI Director James Comey, who caused a firestorm 11 days before the election, President Trump will keep him on. Here's ABC's chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl.
For President Trump today, a flurry of White House meetings.
Perhaps we could go around the table, introduce ourselves, and say hello. I'll start. I'm Donald Trump. Mary, go ahead.
First with auto executives, who the president is threatening with higher taxes for cars they build in factories outside the U.S.
We're bringing manufacturing back to the United States, big league.
Then signing several different directives, one starting the process of approving the Keystone oil pipeline, which was shut down by the Obama administration.
Keystone Pipeline.
And another on the highly controversial Dakota Access pipeline, which was halted after massive protests last year. Within hours, new protests today outside the White House. And for the construction of those pipelines, he ordered the use of American-made steel to the maximum extent possible.
Okay. We will build our own pipeline. We will build our own pipes. That's what it has to do with, like we used to in the old days.
And a big personnel decision. President Trump has decided to keep James Comey as FBI director.
Oh, and there's James. He's become more famous than me.
Trump met briefly over the weekend with Comey, who many Democrats blame for costing Hillary Clinton the election with how he handled her email investigation. We tried to ask Trump about Comey today.
Would you like to stay a little longer? You're not supposed to ask questions. You're not supposed to ask questions.
Just about James Comey.
Very good.
Thank you, Press.
You tried, John. John Karl live at the White House tonight as well, and you have new reporting on the president's possible pick for Supreme Court, some early clues about the decision that could come as early as next week.
The president told us that he plans to make this announcement next week. No final decision, I am told, but a clear leading candidate, David. I am told that Neil Gorsuch, a judge on the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals, a conservative, somebody who's well respected, and somebody who's considered by some to be Scalia 2.0, just like Justice Scalia, who he would be replacing.
John Karl live in Washington. John, thank you. Meanwhile, across town, the showdown on Capitol Hill. Two of President Trump's nominees facing a grilling amid major questions over the more than 20 million Americans who could lose their health insurance if the Affordable Care Act is repealed. Tonight, senators asking, can you promise no one will be worse off with the replacement? ABC's Mary Bruce on Capitol Hill with the answer.
Congressman Tom Price in the chair today, but on the hot seat, the president's plan to overhaul Obamacare.
Will you commit that no one will be worse off?
What I commit to, Senator, is working with you and every single member of Congress to make certain that we have the highest quality health care and that every single American has access to affordable coverage.
That is not what I asked.
The president is promising to repeal and replace simultaneously.
You think that's going to happen?
We sure didn't hear that today.
Trump has said his health care plan is coming soon, right after Price is confirmed for HHS secretary.
Is that true?
It's true that he said that, yes.
Price is likely to play a key role, but he didn't want to talk details.
Have you had a role in helping to craft the replacement?
2 floors up, Trump's pick for budget director, Mick Mulvaney, grilled about his own budget after he failed to pay $15,000 in taxes on income for his children's babysitter.
As soon as it was brought to my attention, I did the only thing I knew to do, which was to take every step to fix it.
And he was quizzed about some other numbers, asked to weigh in on the inaugural crowds.
Which crowd is larger, the 2009 crowd or the 2017 crowd?
Senator, if you allow me to give the disclaimer that I'm not really sure how this ties to OMB, I'll be happy to answer your question, which was from that picture. It does appear that the crowd on the left-hand side is bigger than the crowd on the right-hand side.
Thank you.
Mary Bruce live on Capitol Hill tonight. Mary, Congressman Mulvaney also facing tough questions over his previous proposal to cut Social Security.
David, Mulvaney defended his call to cut Social Security, breaking with the president who's vowed not to touch it. Mulvaney says he plans to be brutally honest with Trump. David.
Mary Bruce live on Capitol Hill again tonight. Mary, thank you. In the meantime, we move on now to the extreme weather. Winter weather advisories across much of the Northeast at this hour. That deadly nor'easter pounding the coast of Scituate, Massachusetts, knocking over trees in Maryland. Thousands across the region without power still. And tonight, a new winter storm in the center of this country. Major trouble for commuters straight into tomorrow. Here's ABC's Lindsay Janis.
Tonight, that storm now barreling across the plains into the Midwest, creating treacherous travel conditions. This as residents dig out after another system dumped heavy snow throughout the Northeast.
A lot heavier than what we expected, for sure.
In Rochester, New York, 2 women killed in this car accident. They apparently lost control of their vehicle on slick roads. In Massachusetts, winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour, sending waves crashing ashore and snapping trees.
I woke up this morning to pounding on the door. It was the Scituate Fire Department. The tree pulled the wires off several of the houses down here.
Trees crashing down onto houses from Massachusetts to Delaware. Along the Jersey Shore, vehicles stranded by floodwaters. Rough seas wiping out 70% of Ortley Beach's sand dunes.
And David, here in the Northeast, officials are warning roads may be slick and dangerous tonight and into tomorrow morning. David?
Lindsay Janis in a windy New York tonight. Lindsay, thank you. Let's get right to meteorologist Rob Marciano. He's live in Boston tonight with more on the track of this. Hey, Rob.
Hi, David. Well, our nor'easter continues to throw down the rain sideways here in Boston, and just inland it's sleet and snow and freezing rain. Take a look at the radar. This thing is crawling, so it's still going to be windy not only in New York but along the coastline. Another 1 to in places 6 inches of snow, sleet, and ice across northern New England. All the while, that California storm on Sunday, now a major snowstorm in the Midwest. Warnings are up there. This thing is going to duck under Minneapolis and be on the warm side for Chicago. So the heaviest snows are going to be through Iowa, Nebraska, and South Dakota, 6 to 12 inches there. It should weaken by the time it gets to the Northeast Thursday and Friday.
All right,
David.
Rob Marciano, very wet Boston tonight. Rob, thank you. Next tonight, that frightening scene in the Minnesota State House. The governor appearing to lose consciousness during a speech, aides rushing to his side. He recovered a few moments later, but tonight he has revealed a more serious health issue. And here's ABC's Lindsay Davis.
After this scare in the State House chambers Monday night, the governor of Minnesota collapsing while delivering his 2017 State of the State address. Today, the governor revealed a diagnosis.
I learned last week I had a biopsy that I do have prostate cancer.
He does not think the cancer is related to what happened during his speech, when after talking for nearly 45 minutes, Governor Mark Dayton's words started to slur. Seconds later, the governor hit the podium.
Get him to the ground. Get him to the ground, please.
Bystanders rushed to his side, just as they did earlier in the night when he seemed to take a spill before the speech even started, nearly toppling over. Following his fall at the podium, the governor was alert and conscious, drinking water before leaving the Capitol on his own. EMTs later checked him out at his house.
The speech was too long. I learned that lesson.
The governor, who turned 70 on Thursday, says he's not in any pain and still up to doing his job and finishing out the 2 years left in his term.
Governor Walker says he felt fine until just about a minute before he lost consciousness. Tests to determine just what caused his collapse are underway tonight at the Mayo Clinic. David?
Lindsay, thank you. Next tonight, the dramatic collision on the tracks in Utah. Dash cam video showing a commuter train plowing into a big rig FedEx truck. Amazingly, no one was hurt, but the crossing gates were up at the time. No flashing lights to warn drivers. It failed. Here's ABC's Clayton Sandell.
Trucks crossing snowy railroad tracks, but then the North Salt Lake police officer recording this video starts backing up because right there, a commuter train suddenly barrels right through that FedEx truck.
We got some people on the train, probably need some medical assistance.
We have one ambulance there, we can get more.
But look closer. Before the collision, those crossing arms are up, lights and warning bells off. They don't turn on for another 30 seconds. The Utah Transit Authority believes severe ice and snow Saturday sent the arms into default mode, automatically lowering them. But soon after railroad employees arrived to investigate, about a minute before the crash, the arms raised back up. The agency says it's never had an accident like this before, and the UTA is investigating why and how it happened to ensure it doesn't occur again. The train carried 82 passengers. There were 2 FedEx employees in the truck and no serious injuries. And tonight, railroad authorities tell us they still haven't ruled out human error, and the employees working that day have now been placed on leave during the investigation. David?
Stunning images. All right, Clayton, thanks. There's still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Tuesday. The new headline about the flu and the states where it's hitting hardest. And first, you'll see the map. Also, just 24 hours after reporting on that study about cervical cancer, the Dancing with the Stars co-host revealing her battle tonight and how she learned. The wildfire burning out of control homes and buildings up in flames are tracking this. And the Oscar nominations making history tonight. And what we learned today, not about the dancing, but about the piano playing in La La Land. We'll be right back.
If you have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, isn't it time to let the real you shine through? Introducing Wjla, a Premolast. Wjla is not an injection or a cream. It's a pill that treats plaque psoriasis differently. Some people who took Wjla